What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be drafting 7th overall. Should be pretty interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comments section. Agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's take a look at how this draft will unfold. So, like I said before, this is a 10-team full PPR mock. We're picking 7th overall. So, the way I see this playing out, there's some auto picks in here. I'm hoping that one of Bijan or Brees, maybe even Jamar Chase falls to me. I'd be pretty happy if that's the case. Ooh, Tyreek Hill goes first overall. So, Christian McCaffrey won't be your prototypical 101. Now, in full PPR, I think 99.9% of the time, Christian McCaffrey is that first overall pick. That is the way that I would do it as well. And boy, Christian McCaffrey just dropped to 3rd overall. That's pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't think of the last time I saw Christian McCaffrey drop to 3rd overall. I mean, that right there could be the steal of the entire draft, even though it's, 2 picks later. But it is what it is. Ooh, we have Saquon Barkley going in the top 5 ahead of a Bijan Robinson. And then Jamar Chase just went at the 106. Some craziness here. So that means Bijan Robinson drops to us at the 107. I said right out of the gate that if Brees, Bijan, or Jamar Chase, if one of them dropped to us, then that would be pretty much my pick automatically. I'm just kind of taking this in regards to best player available. That's the way I'm going to approach it. That's the way I'm going to, draft here. And just to pull up the pick history, because again, unfortunately, this is the best that ESPN has to offer when it comes to the draft board. Tyreek and CeeDee Lamb, the first 2 picks, then McCaffrey, Brees, Saquon, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson for us, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Justin Jefferson drops to 10th overall. And then now we have A.J. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs followed by Jonathan Taylor. I was hoping that maybe Garrett Wilson could fall to us, that potentially Jahmyr Gibbs would fall to us in the 2nd round. That doesn't happen. Here, I have Puka Nacua available to me. While I don't think he will duplicate his performance from last year, I do think that he's kind of the highest ranked wide receiver that I have left on my board. So I'm going to follow my board. I'm going to go select Puka Nacua and, kind of count that as having my wide receiver 1 taken care of. I've got a wide receiver 1. I've got a running back 1. And now, kind of balanced start to this draft in general. Pointing out any craziness so far, I would say the biggest, kind of unexpected thing was Saquon Barkley being a top 5 pick ahead of Bijan Robinson. That definitely probably impacted us being able to draft Bijan Robinson because I'll tell you right now, if Bijan was drafted, I probably would have gone Amon-Ra or Garrett Wilson. And, maybe a Kyren Williams in the 2nd round if the other selections played out the way they did, which, speaking of those selections, round 2 went A.J. Brown, like I mentioned, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor. Puka Nacua was our selection, then Chris Olave, DJ Moore. I think that's a little bit early for him considering, you've got the rookie quarterback and you've got the additions of Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. I just don't think the volume is going to be the same like it was last year for DJ Moore. Then Kyren Williams, Isaiah Pacheco, Marvin Harrison, Michael Pittman, and Derrick Henry with the first pick in the 3rd round. Looking at the big board, names that are left that I would not mind. Travis Etienne, Drake London. Yes, I've already got Bijan Robinson, but I'm a believer in Drake London, and getting him at that point in the 3rd round I think would be a good value. I don't think he would fall to us, though. Rashad White, I don't mind. Alvin Kamara, I don't mind. There goes Travis Etienne. So there's still a lot of really, really good players, honestly. Let's see how this plays out. looking at the wide receivers, let's just filter it out through wide receivers to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. But I think I can have a chance in the fourth round to get a Jalen Waddle, for example. I'm not going to look at Cooper Kupp because I've already got Puka Nacua. Let's look at the running backs. Rachaad White, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs. I think Rachaad White is a good value at this point in time. Wide receivers, Drake London is still there. I think he's a really, really good value. Yes, I would be, doubling down on the Atlanta offense. I don't like to do that, but I think he's the best value at this point in time. So, like I said, I'm just going to follow my big board here. I'm going to follow best player available type of mindset, and I'm going to go for it. Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, somewhat tempting as well. There goes Kelce. There goes Laporta. I would have Laporta ahead of Kelce for what it's worth. So we're not going to get one of those top two tight ends, but I'm completely fine with that, to be honest with you. I think there's better value at the tight ends later on. Just to name a few guys, let's point them out. Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Evan Ingram, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins just went. Let's see if Rachaad White makes it to us. If he does, damn it, he just got drafted. I was going to say, if he makes it to us, he is going to be our selection pretty easily. Instead, we're going to have to pivot. Running backs, there was a little bit of a run, so Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson. I think I'm just going to go, again, follow the big board. Jalen Waddle at this point in time to me is a good value. Still, I believe not a single quarterback has been drafted. I agree with the way that is going. ESPN has their quarterbacks ranked lower than other platforms, which I approve. And as soon as I say that, Josh Allen gets drafted. But keep in mind, he gets drafted with the, I believe, 36th overall pick. Then you see Jalen Hurts afterwards, followed by DK Metcalf. So in round three, just to recap it, we had Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, A-Chain, ETN, Joe Mixon, James Cook. I ended up going with Drake London in the third round. Maybe I should have gone Rachaad White first so we could get that number 2 running back. But, I was very tempted by Drake London. I thought him falling was just a little bit better value. So I went there. I thought there might be a chance that Rachaad White falls to us. And it almost happened. We got sniped. He went 33rd overall. We had the 34th overall pick. So it's not like it was completely crazy of me to think that. After Drake London, you see Travis Kelce, Laporta, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, and Rachaad White. So we went with Jalen Waddle. We pivoted a little bit. And a run on quarterbacks with Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, DeAndre Swift, Brendan Ayuk. And now in the 5th round, Kenneth Walker and Aaron Jones, followed by Devonta Smith and Stephon Diggs. So there goes Deebo Samuel as well. Let's see what we're looking at here. Cooper Kupp is still there. Patrick Mahomes is there. So, I'm not going to lie to you. Patrick Mahomes at this point in time in the 5th round, end of the 5th round, that's where I start to say, okay, well, that's a pretty decent value, right? Cooper Kupp, oh my gosh, he's also a really good value. Ramondre Stevenson just went. Let's see if these guys picking after me have quarterbacks. This guy does not. He's got a tight end. This guy's got a tight end. So I think I'm better off taking a quarterback and then waiting on tight end. And I think Patrick Mahomes here at the end of the 5th round, that's good value. So he goes I take him a full round later than Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Again, I always say it, if you're going to select a tier 1 quarterback, I'm typically against it unless the value is tremendous. And in that case, just don't be the first one to pull the trigger on it. Because again, I got a tier 1 quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, but I waited a full round later. And, at the end of the 5th round, that price to pay isn't as large as typically what you see, with these tier 1 guys going somewhere like the start of the 3rd, something like that, right? Or even end of the 2nd. I'm on the clock here. To me, this pick is really easy. I'm going Trey McBride. I was hoping that one of these guys fell to me at the tight end position. He does. I'm going there. Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, I think they're both good options. I think McBride is okay. Sure, the offense won't run through him like it did last year at certain points in time, but he's the number 2 option for the Arizona Cardinals, pass catching wise. So I think that's still really valuable. Dalton Kincaid, you could argue the same about him. Like, it's going to be a combo of Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel as the number 1 wide receiver. And then it's probably going to be Dalton Kincaid afterwards. Now, again, I think that both those guys are good values, but it's probably splitting hairs. We'll see. I went with McBride. I think he's going to have a little bit more opportunities. But again, if you want to go with Dalton Kincaid, absolutely no issues there. I think they both have, at the end of the day, very high upside at the tight end position. And also the fact that they're going about 2 or 3 rounds later, depending on the size of your leagues, than Laporta and Travis Kelce is really what gets my attention. So, yeah, we have our starting roster taken care of other than the number 2 running back spot. So here, this is where it'll get a little bit interesting. What we're hoping to see is a quarterback run, a tight end run, and let's pull up the pick history here. With the 6th round so far, after we went with McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Evan Ingram. So that quarterback tight end run may be happening a little bit. Oh yeah, there goes Dak, there goes George Kittle. So we got to survive 4 more picks for us to select another running back here. And the way I would rank them, let's see. I like somebody like a Jonathan Brooks, Zamir White, David Montgomery, James Conner, but that would be loading up too much on the Arizona Cardinals if I went with James Conner. So I'll probably go with Jonathan Brooks, even though I feel like he's more of a late season type of pick because, you know, his injury, crowded backfield. I think Chuba Hubbard is going to be the guy to own in Carolina for at least the first half of the season. And then Jonathan Brooks potentially takes over afterwards. But here I have the option to, you know, basically maybe land a couple of these guys. I'll go with a high upside Jonathan Brooks, and then hopefully I can get one of Zamir, James Conner, David Montgomery, no longer the case. Maybe Brian Robinson. There goes Zamir White. Yeah, I mean, I figured that would be the case. I can't say I'm shocked by any of this, but that's all right. I think there's still some good value. Zach Moss is there later on for us. Let's pull that up. Jake Ferguson just went. Zach Moss, 86th overall. I think there's a chance he can fall to us. You know, we'd have to reach on him right now, and I think there's some better values, right? Like Terry McLaurin and Christian Kirk at wide receiver, especially since we already have Drake London. Like, you know, if there's bad matchups, maybe we go with a Christian Kirk instead of Drake London some week. So we're not fully invested in the Atlanta offense. Give us a little bit of flexibility is basically what I'm saying. So let's make 1 or 2 more selections, and then we can round this thing out. Now, I would say to nobody's surprise, it's a 10-team league, right? So there's going to be some top-heavy teams. There wasn't too much craziness in this draft. I'd say the biggest thing was, again, Saquon Barkley being a top 5 picks and Christian McCaffrey falling a 3rd overall. But the first 2 picks were CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill. So I can't say I'm shocked by that. So right now, I'd say for the most part, pretty realistic. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a 10-team, 10-team league. Who even does this? I mean, trust me, folks, I get it. I prefer the 12-teamers as well, but there's still a lot of people, I'm telling you, that do the 10-team leagues with like several flex players type of situation. So, to all you troopers out there, this one's for you. Unfortunately, Zach Moss just got drafted, so that wasn't meant to be, I guess. Let's see what we could do here at running back. So Zach Moss wasn't it. Javonte Williams, I'm not a believer in Javonte Williams. I think Raheem Mostert ain't a bad pick at this point in time. Austin Eckler is that check down guy. Jerome Ford. Let's see what the news on Nick Chubb is. I haven't checked in on that in a while. Let's see if there's any news. Recent news. Yeah, I mean, I saw the video of him squatting. I'm not really too impressed by that. It's different to run and take contact as opposed to just squatting. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to play early on in the season. It says the Browns seem optimistic that he'll be fully healthy and suiting up at some point during the 2024 campaign. Yeah, well, that's tough to predict, isn't it? We're on the clock again. So here I can go with an Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, starting running back for the Cowboys, decent value, I think, at this point in time. Let's just load up on starting running backs, right? We can, at this point in time, it's just a matter of kind of loading up on a second running back until Jonathan Brooks breaks out for the Panthers. And then this roster, I think, really starts to take off. We've got Raheem Mostert, we've got Zeke to potentially fill in those gaps until Jonathan Brooks is a full go. But until then, like our roster, Mahomes, Bijan, Puka, Drake London, Trey McBride, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk. I feel good about this roster. Let me know your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Again, your thoughts along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.